everybody, and welcome to episode 16 of Creating Your Career with Marla J. Alberti. I am so super excited, as I am with every episode that I do, because I have the one and only Dr. Kim Bynum on today, and we're going to hear how she creates her life. Say hey, everybody, Kim.
Hello, glad to be here, Marla. Thank you.
Yeah, so let me give you, I'd like to give a little brief background how I met the person. So I met Kim. We used to work for the same organization, wonderful organization. And when I first saw her and heard her speak and talk, I said, oh my God, this woman is something special. Like, you recognize things in people and you kind of vibe with people. And I just said, you know what? I got to go sit down and talk to her. And from that moment on, she's been nothing but a spitfire. If you go to my conference page, www.imaginewomen'sconference.com, she was one of the speakers in the 2018, this year's conference. Oh my God, you can see the pictures and everything. I'm sorry, it wasn't recorded. Sorry. Maybe I'll think about that in the future, hint, hint. But she was a spitfire speaker, just like the rest of my speakers were. People loved her. Like, they were like, Marla, where'd you find her at? She's awesome. So I could not pass up the opportunity to get her on the talk show. So I'm glad you're here, Kim. So let's
Thank you.
go. Yes, of course, of course. So let's go right into it. Tell the world a little bit about Dr. Kim Bynum and, you know, where you're from and give us a brief history up till now.
Okay. Thank you so much for having me. It's always a pleasure. And, you know, same as you, our cubicles were next to each other. And so it was so fun to be able to kind of overhear each other. And we knew we were like-minded folks. So I'm so glad that our relationship has lasted long past that organization. And we've been able to others' lives and bless each other. And I love what you're doing, Marla. You are just being you, authentically you, and thank you for having me here today. All right, so a little bit about me. I'm going to start with a little bit about my childhood, just because I think it's interesting that I grew up with such a dichotomy of life. So on one end, I grew up with my dad. My parents were divorced, so I grew up with my dad instead of my mom. My mom kind of took off and did her own thing, and she did that on purpose because she felt like my dad could give us a better life, me and my sister. And so my dad was typical middle class, you know, grew up with a house with, you know, 3 bedrooms and the white picket fence, whatever. And then when my mom got a little bit, well, I wouldn't say a little bit more stable, but later my mom came back and got us when I was a teenager, and I went to live with her. But that was a more crazy life, a lot of freedom, and she was in an abusive relationship, and there was some drugs and all kinds of craziness, and we were very poor. So I got this dual life of middle class, normal, kind of strict dad, and then I got this crazy abusive relationship, living kind of poor, not really having a lot. Sometimes I didn't even have enough to eat, eating free lunch, living both sides of the lane, really. And I'm so grateful to God for that, because I feel like because of those two experiences, so I was straight A student, cheerleader, nerd, but when I was in high school, I could certainly relate to the bad boys and the crowd that was running there, even though I had this image at school that I maintained with my grades and my nerdy self and cheerleader and all that. So it's really shaped who I am up to this point, because it's made me really be able to empathize, understand, and relate to whoever it is that I'm talking to, no matter which side of the world they're coming from. And I'm so grateful for those experiences, because I think it's just helped me as a human being be able to help others.
Oh my gosh, Kim, I can act, and you guys know it's a talk show, so I can talk forever. And I love that, because I'm glad you said that, because our backgrounds is what shape us. And guys, this goes to show that, like Kim said, I am authentic, because guess what I forgot to do? I forgot to read Kim's bio. So I'm going to do that now. And we're not going to edit this part out, because guess what? It's about content. And so I'm going to read her bio now, and then we're going to pick back up. So her bio is Dr. Kim Bynum is a 5 foot tall, yes, that's so cute, 5 foot tall bundle of positive energy and enthusiasm, as we can already see, who has given up on the appropriate call sign Tasmanian Devil during one of her numerous U.S. Navy military assignments. And I love that. You wear that Tasmanian Devil with pride, okay? As a leader, mentor, and change agent, Dr. Bynum is committed. I love this. She's committed to intentional, present moment living. And I want you to talk about that later on. I've really refashioned my life to that. What's going on now? It's mindful. I love it. Kim is a firm believer in breaking the golden rule. Yes. Ignoring other social niceties. Yes. To liberate the individuals and organizations from fear and mediocrity. Ugh. Well, that's a whole other topic there. A subject matter expert in communication, team building, organizational change. She drives results with long-lasting impact. She is a professor of leadership, management, and economics, currently teaching at DeVry University, Christian Brothers University, and Harvest Community School. Kim is also a bronze certified sales trainer and consultant through Sandler Training. Previously, she served 21 years in the United States Navy. Go Navy! Including several at-sea tours on certain warships called USS Kearsarge, USS Gonzales, and the USS Gettysburg. I'm familiar with all three of those. She is a proud mother of both a special needs son, Riley. I hope I said that right. And up-and-coming level 9 gymnast Tess, which is she's cute as a button, and married to a U.S. Marine. We'll forgive him, but U.S. Marine J.T. Bynum. Thank you so much for coming and talking and sharing your world with us. And like you said, you started out with a certain type of beginning. So tell me, how has that, like you said, it's kind of shaped how you feel and how you see people now. So tell us, how has that shaped you in the career you're in? Because we mentioned a lot of teaching. We mentioned coaching for your daughter, consulting. So tell us, what is your career field and what's going on now?
So you mentioned that I spent 21 years of my career in the Navy. So yes. So I went to college out of high school and had a full academic ride scholarship. You go to school and your life changes, you make poor choices. And I lost that scholarship, and that landed me in the Navy, thankfully. Little did I know then that was going to be a 21-year career, which was fabulous for me and my family. Met my husband and raised our family in the Navy. And so that was a career in itself. And so now in 2013, I transitioned from the Navy. And so now I'm kind of in my second phase, in my second journey of career transition. And here it is 5 years later. So it's 2018. It's been a little bit of a journey to transition from military, which was basically my sole career, and then having to kind of wiggle my way through and navigate what does it look like for me now? The world's my oyster. I can be anything I want to be now. What do I be when I grow up? What do I want to be? So my passion, as I've slowly meandered through a couple of different positions, one of which we shared together, in our organization, has really, I've come to find that where my passion lies is, one, helping others, military or not military, understand their career journey, their career transition. But bigger than that in my consulting is any kind of coaching, mentoring in life transition, specifically career, because that's such a big part of what we do, but really in transition in general, in organizations, whether that's change, culture change, teams, career. And that's what I found, Marla, has really cemented and stuck with me. And so you hear a lot of teaching in that bio now at the collegiate level, and then at Harvest, which is a K through 12, and I teach high school right now, and I coach a cheer team. Cheerleading is my passion. But any opportunity that I have to come alongside whoever God puts in my path that I'm called to coach, mentor, share my experience with, or, even if it's just listening and not sharing my experience and just listening and receiving, that's where I'm at right now.
Oh my God. So I love this. I have so many questions stirring in my brain. First off, I love how you said that the teaching aspect is what's important. I also love how you said the career piece, because that's my baby. This is create your career. I'm big on that. I'm actually writing a career development book about that as we speak, about how people separate career and life. They're not two separate things. They're together. Awesome. You have to live, they're together. You can't separate the two. So I love how you're spreading that amongst our high school students. We don't teach career development in high school and all of that. And it's also not taught in college most of the time either. Correct. So tell us, how has your journey been? Being a college professor is a big thing. Many people want to get into that, even including myself. So tell us, how have you been let's start with that first, then we'll get to the high school. How have you started to create your career in becoming a college professor? We know you have your PhD, so talk a little bit about that too. How have you began to create your career into that, and then how has that led you into high school as well?
Sure. I think it's a great question, and it's something that I've gotten often, so I appreciate you giving me the opportunity and the platform to speak about it here. So the first thing that I would say, and you know this, I'm going to repeat it here because people don't want to listen to it, but it goes back to networking. So if this is something, education is your thing, and you know that you want to teach at the college level, then you know that while you're getting your education, whether you're working on your master's level right now or you're considering moving into the doctoral level, then networking is still going to be part of your game. Even at the academia world, it's all about networking and who you know. You know, as I got my undergrad a million years ago, and then I received my master's from Jacksonville University. So while I was pursuing my doctorate degree, I was at Jacksonville University, and I let them know up front during my program, I would like to teach here. Teaching is what I want to do. And so guess what? When a class became available, and I was one of the first people to finish my doctorate at JU in the program, and that's another story. When that became available, a course became available. And I had, you know, obviously I put the work in. I went to events. I networked. I spoke when I had opportunities. I tried to write great papers that were interesting and in the field that those professors were interested in, their research. But it was all about networking. Additionally, when you're around like-minded people that are getting their education, they also know people in education. And so I let everybody know I want to teach. My bio talks about teaching at Christian Brothers University. That's a school in Memphis, Tennessee, guys, and I'm located in Jacksonville, Florida. I just happen to have a friend who has a friend in another cohort at JU who works for Christian Brothers University that said, oh, we need somebody that teaches economics, and you are an economics, that was your, specialization in your doctoral thing. Can you do this class online? I've been there for a year and a half. That was a friend of a friend that just was knowing that I wanted to teach. What I found the best way to do that is to break in is that whole adjunct realm. You've got to find a way to just get a class under your belt. So that's my first step. The other thing is work on getting published. And a first step to that is take a paper and go to a conference. They have all kinds of conferences. You can Google management conference, academic conference. Take a paper. It doesn't have to be a big 30-page paper. It can be, you only have to do a poster. You can present that. Anyway, that's enough. Network, conferences, publish, network.
Okay, guys, you guys know, those who watch on a regular basis, you know my heart behind this. This is so good, Kim. We could literally stop right here and not ask any more questions, but I can't. I got to keep going. But this is so good, guys. Let me just back up a little bit. Notice how the first thing she said was networking. I love that because I talk about that in almost every single one of these shows. And you've got to get out your comfort zone. You've got to get out your box. You got to go to events. You got to talk to people. You got to accept speaking engagements if you can. I mean, obviously, you know your schedule, but if you can, accept it. And now I'm not just saying accept the speaking engagements, accept it. Make sure you're passionate about what the cause is and what the person's representing, of course. But the main purpose is you got to know people and you got to get yourself out there. It's not going to just sit there and come to you while you're on your couch, right? And I love how you said, take that one paper you wrote, that information that you wrote, and just go talk about it at a local place, at a local conference. Apply. Just go and just do it. Again, that's been a constant theme throughout the whole entire talk show. It's just get yourself out there outside your box and do it. I love how you said that. I love how also you said like-minded people. So, and you guys know the thing, singers hang around a lot of singers, dancers hang around a lot of dancers. Not saying you can't have outside friends and family. Kim is not saying that. I'm not saying that. But if you want to be a professor, if you want to do things, you got to talk to other professors. You got to talk to other people. If you want to be a mechanic, you got to go talk to a mechanic and see how they are doing their thing. So I love how you are fashioning that. So how has all of that led you into teaching at the high school level?
So interestingly enough, I was asked to go and speak at a high school for my leadership expertise. And I went and I spoke on a simple leadership topic. I picked one and met with high schools. They were seniors. It was a 20-minute talk, tops, and didn't think anything about it. A year later, I go back to this high school, and it's K through 12. So I go back to the school, and I am going to enroll my child, who I was homeschooling, but now I'm done with that because she's a teenager. And I say, hey, I want to enroll my kid in this school because I saw you guys when I did this leadership symposium, and you're amazing. Can I put my kid here? And the founder of the school says, we'd love to have you, blah, blah, blah. Oh, by the way, what do you do for a living? And I said, oh, I'm a professor of economics. And he said, wow, we really could use an economics teacher. We need one class taught part-time. Could you do that? And I said, if that'll help pay for tuition at this school. Heck yeah. And so, seriously. And so that led to, it's just, I teach 1 hour or an hour and a half twice a week. And I got my cheer team from at that high school, which is, I feel like a gift because it's my passion. And that's how that happened. From speaking a year ago at an event that a friend asked me to go speak at, because leadership's kind of my bailiwick. I go there a year later, enroll my kid. They're like, oh yeah, we remember you. The kids loved you. And the guy just says, what do you do for a living? Looking at my, as a parent, just like that.
I'm just sitting here shaking my head, guys, because are you listening to this, guys? I hope you hear this, because this is all about just going out there. And you're talking about a year later. This is about she was just doing her thing. And I will put a plug in, because the school she's speaking about, I have it here. It is Harvest Community School. I actually spoke myself there. I did a workshop there when they had like their career day. And a wonderful, wonderful school here in Jacksonville, Florida. Definitely a huge shout out to them. Teachers, the staff, the kids were amazing. I did the workshop I did was high school level as well. All of this from one-time speaking. Again, guys, you have to get out there and just do it. And then just sit back and relax. I mean, still keep doing your thing, but don't worry about it, because people remember you. People remember the value that they brought. That's why, like I just said, content. People remember content. We don't necessarily care about backgrounds and stuff. People want to hear, how can I get in? How can you help me? How can I walk away with something? And they heard that in your message. And they said, wait a minute, you could bring something to our kids, because our kids need to hear that. An hour and a half a week. It helps with tuition. It's a win-win situation.
Absolutely.
It's a win-win situation. And now, what are you teaching for that hour and a half? What is your subject?
I'm teaching, you're going to love it. I'm teaching economics. And then the second 9 weeks, I teach them financial literacy, but it also includes a career component, which they've let me build a little bit in. So Marla, I'm actually able to teach them a little bit about resumes, interview questions, how to start navigating career choices, because these are 11th and 12th graders. I'm so blessed to be able to add that into our curriculum. Because it's not taught in high schools, not taught in colleges, and what a blessing to be able to add those things in that yourself as a coach, how desperately that's needed.
Yes, I mean, it is so desperately needed, guys, and I've always been baffled with that. I don't understand why that is not taught at the high school level, let alone when you get in college. I'm reading a book right now. Shout out to Josh Kaufman. I'll put a link down below for his information too. Josh Kaufman is called the Personal Mba, and he's talking about that. So much stuff is not taught when you get this MBA. There's so much stuff. I mean, go get one if you feel it's worth the money, but you still got to come out and hustle and do everything else. So Why are you putting? It's like you still have to come out and teach resume skills to these kids when they're graduating college. They don't know. So it's the resources and stuff is out there for people to grab a hold to, but unfortunately and I'm not saying all colleges are bad. I'm an education person. Kim's an education person. I'm in school currently for my PhD. Kim has her PhD. So we're not against education. We're just saying we recognize what's not being taught. And guess what? We're out here to teach it. So I love how you're just spreading it around. So Kim, what are the skills that someone would need? Because you're creating your career. She's a coach. She's still speaking in leadership. She's teaching in leadership and communication at the high school and collegiate level. How can someone who wants to get into teaching at high school, get into coaching, get into teaching at the graduate level, collegiate level, what skills do they need to do this? Can they just graduate college and say, oh, I'm going to be a professor and just do this thing? Like, what do they need to do?
We talked a little bit about the teaching part, and I think that, like I said, the easiest thing to do there, just get out and network, put yourself out there. You're going to have an in. If you're just going to apply online to all of the positions, stick your resume out there, that first course that you teach, if you don't have somebody that that's recommending, hey, this is a good person, it's going to be impossible. So you've got to have that person that's going to kind of vouch for you at that first school that you teach that first course. Once you have that first course under your belt as an adjunct, the doors become a little bit more open for you. I've also had, Marla, people ask me about well, how do I become a consultant, or how do I become a coach? People are, and you can go on Facebook and you can go online, and there's all these people that are offering these courses and, $99 or $5,000 for how to get 1 million clients and leads and garbage like that. I've had people ask me, well, how do you get your consulting clients? How do you get your coaching clients? And I'm going to be honest with you, it's a act of just doing good. What I mean by that is you put yourself out there to help people without the thought of what am I going to get in return? And your clientele builds. People see your value in your ad. So what I'm saying is I went and spoke to Harvest not for a fee. I went to speak to Harvest because children need to hear about leadership. And that manifested itself into a consulting gig for a company because I met a mom that resulted in now, a job and da-da-da-da. So I think you have to sow into and be willing to sow into, I'm not talking about unpaid consulting. So that's a Sandler topic we can talk about later, where you just give away everything for free. But you do have to be willing to build your clientele. You can't just do some magic potion. For consulting, what I found is you've got to have content. Marley, you talked about this. How you've got to be able to articulate what is it that you do that people should pay money for, number one. But people don't buy your features and benefits. And I'm getting a little bit into Sandler selling. They don't care about what you can do for them until you can understand what problem they have and what pain they're having so that you can tell them how you can solve it. My consulting business has been more about me coming in, and when they articulate their pain to me, or I can help them uncover their pain they didn't even know they had, they hire me to be their consultant because they're like, wow, you've helped me articulate this pain that I didn't even know I had. Most consultants, in my opinion, go in and try to solve a problem that they haven't even articulated and don't even know what it is and they haven't identified. So how do you start your consulting business? You go in and you find and help people articulate their pain, and you don't even have to do that through a formal appointment. You can be out networking and talk to Joe Blow, asking questions, and they'll hire you on the spot because they're like, wow, how did you help me articulate that these were my pain points? Then you go in and talk about, could this help? What could this do? And that's where your content and what you do comes in. That's my suggestion to you, instead of all these other getting 1 million leads and, all these other fly-by-night kind of, pay me to teach you how to get customers or clients.
Thank you. So, you know what, Kim? We could go on forever, but it's only a 30-minute talk show. I know, but you're so right. And guys, what she's saying is so spot on. Nothing happens overnight. And I think, especially now in this new millennial world, we think that we're just going to come out of high school or come out of college and we're going to do it. It's going to happen tomorrow. And, or our business is going to be off and running in 5 years. No, it takes time. And like you said, I can honestly say 99% of my clients, well, maybe 95% of my clients are via word of mouth. Most of my clients have come from, the client I have now has come from someone else, so it's all about, like you said, getting out there. The key word today is networking and opening yourself up. Now, real quick, I want to decipher, before we get into our last question, decipher between consulting and coaching. So consulting, my definition is you're going out, a company or a person has a problem, you're going to dissect the problem and tell them your suggestions and your expertise is how to fix the problem. Coaching is more guiding. We listen 90% of the time, and then we ask you questions that no one else is going to ask you. So what is your definition of consulting versus coaching? Because so many people get it wrong. They get it wrong.
Marla, you know what? I don't think that I've ever heard it articulated so succinctly and perfectly as you just said it. I'm not sure if I can beat that. Here's what I'll tell you that a good friend of mine, who's actually one of my personal coaches, one of my personal life coaches, my main one, I have 2 of them, but what he always tells me is, and I'm not even going to try to top you on that difference between consulting and coaching, because that's it. What you said, guys, that's it. But what he says about coaching is, if a coach is coaching correctly, then basically he's going to coach himself out of a job. If you always have to run back to the coach to figure out what to do forever and ever and ever, then that coach is not actually coaching you. so that at some point you should be outgrowing the coach, and I just thought that was so powerful because, like you had just said, the coach is there to guide you and ask you questions that you wouldn't think to ask yourself. And after so many, times of that, you learn what to reflect on and what to ask yourself, so that coach just becomes now your friend and your mentor, because now you know where to reflect to, you know where to go back to, so you can make those decisions or the right behaviors yourself.
Oh my God, I love that your coach said that, because that's a question I get too from other coaches. How long do you keep your clients? I said, well, really, that's a hard question, because I don't try to keep them. I've had client coach relationships that I've ended because I said, you're good now. You're good. Because it's not about money. I'm not trying to keep a client to keep them paying me. I think you're doing well. Go out there and change the world. You don't need, if you can come to me for questions later on in life. I'm here. But to us to keep a contractual coaching client agreement longer than a year, that's the longest I've had a client, is a year. I won't go past a year, because again, I agree with what your coach said. If I have to keep you that long, there's something neither one of us are doing. You're not doing your homework, and I'm not doing my job. Because you shouldn't have to coach 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8 years. Seriously, you should have that person should be even all of my clients, they come back to me and they ask me questions every now and then. But that's because I'm open and I'm authentic. And I want to say this, Kim, before we get to the last question. One thing I've heard throughout this whole entire interview is authenticity. You're just being who you are. And guys, this is really Kim. This is how she is. And people want authenticity. I think people will pay for authenticity over get me 5,000 likes on Facebook, right? Yeah. Or give me 5. People will rather hear this instead of, give me $100 and I'll show you how to get 20 more Instagram likes, or hearts, or followers, should I say. Great. Do we all want more followers? Of course we do. But you want the authenticity to come out because you want true followers. I'm not going to pay for a follower, right? So I love how you brought all of that out. Thank you so much, Kim. Let's do a recap real quick. So Kim has talked about networking. She's talked about how her experiences of speaking have led to not only her daughter getting into the school she wants, but the tuition being less. She, not on top of that, she spoke for free. Guys, we're not saying give away all your services, but you can't charge for everything all the time, okay? So when the time comes, if someone asks you to speak, just do it. You don't know what will happen from that, okay? And then look at all the doors that have opened. Look at everything that has opened for you that is now bringing in monetary value. Now you're able to teach on 3 or 4 different levels. It's amazing, all that from one free, she didn't do 10 free sessions. She did 1 free session, guys, and all this is opened up. So I love, Kim, how you have been able to create your career. Thank you so much for this. So tell the world, it's our last question, tell the world something that we may not know about Kim, that you can legally say.
My goodness. Okay, so let's see, something I can legally say that people don't know about me.
Something that may be surprising.
Oh my goodness. I try to be such an open book. I'm trying to think of something that people will really giggle at or be really astounded at. And I don't want to say anything like that's too good or braggy.
No, it's okay, brag.
My gosh. I will say that, I know what something is. Okay, here's something that you may not know about me. Even though I was able to get a degree in undergrad as an electrical engineering, and so you would think that, I'm so super smart, I can do calculus or whatever, I totally almost failed accounting.
Wow.
Can't do accounting. No.
Wow.
So for all those of you that are out there in MBA land and you're struggling with accounting or finance, just keep pushing, because I just was like, what's wrong with me? I can do so many things, but accounting, I just almost got an F. I barely squeaked by with a D.
Wow.
That's my confession.
I love it. You know what? It's okay, because you can read Josh Kaufman's book, The Personal Mba. He says you don't even need to know it. You just need to know a little bit about it so you can move on, because you're not going to use a lot of it anyway. So there is confirmation of that, guys. Thank you so much, Kim. So if people want to get in contact with you, how can they do so? And also, I'm going to have these links at the bottom too, guys. But go ahead, Kim, tell the world, how can they reach you?
Sure. I have on Facebook, my page is Bynum Consulting. My last name is Bynum, so Bynum Consulting. That's probably the easiest way to get a hold of me. I'm on LinkedIn under just Kim Bynum. That's another way. And I would love to connect. I love to connect on LinkedIn, and anybody that I'm a connector. So if there's somebody that you need to connect with that I'm connected to on LinkedIn, drop me a note. I'll make a warm handoff. I'll make an introduction. Look at my background. If there's anything that I can do, please reach out to me. I'd love for that. I'd love to hear from you.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Kim. Like I said, I'm going to be dropping these links down below. Guys, if you want to reach out, if you want to get interviewed, don't forget to email contact@truthspeakscoaching.com. Reach out to us. It's the Truth Speaks group. That's my business. We have the upcoming conference coming up. That's www.imaginewomenconf.com. Like I said, Kim was a speaker this year. Phenomenal. Next year is going to be phenomenal as well. I have 3 great more speakers coming up. Thank you so much, Kim. This has been amazing. And guys, we'll see you next month with episode 17. Bye-bye. Thank you.